Welcome to There's Sometimes a Buggy, Irresponsible Opinions about Classic Film. I'm Elise.
I'm Dave, and this week it's the final episode. Gloria Grahame will be concluding with 3 films: Ride Out for Revenge, Odds Against Tomorrow, and Ride Beyond Vengeance. After that, stay tuned for our Gloria Grahame Top 10s and a thrill-packed Fear and Moviegoing in Toronto segment. We'll have 5 movies for you, 3 of them part of the Mikio Naruse retrospective going on at the TIFF Lightbox. We'll be talking about Floating Clouds, Repast, and Mother. Plenty of others from that series to come in the weeks ahead. Also, we went to the Carlton, our neighborhood theater, twice. They had $5 screenings of 90s films, The Usual Suspects, and the Daytrippers. Let's get right into the Gloria Grahame films. We'll dip into Leonard Maltin's TV Movies and Video Guide, 1991 edition. Well, he gives it 1.5 stars.
Not fair.
Tiresome account of gold-hungry men trying to dispossess Indians from their land.
Okay.
Director Bernard Gerard. On the cast list, Rory Calhoun, Gloria Grahame, Lloyd Bridges, Vince Edwards.
So, Maltin, this is not a take that has stood the test of time. Perhaps the tiresome part.
I didn't find it tiresome at all. I thought it was a really interesting film.
I thought it was pretty good, yeah. A few times we have found a stray, small movie here and there from the studio era.
It's 1957.
Well, we can't call it a studio film because you know who made it.
Yeah, it's Kirk Douglas's company, right?
Exactly, it's Kirk Douglas's company, distributed by United Artists. Let's say it's a genre film, it's a studio-type film. Here and there we have found a little movie with a very modern, post-colonial take on settler and indigenous relations in America. And this is another of those, just something that there are revisionist westerns, which are one thing, and then there's something quite a bit further left and more incisive and unusual. And this fell into that category, whatever you may think of it as a piece of filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree. It has a very modern outlook, not in its casting.
Yeah, not amongst the speaking roles. There may have been indigenous people involved as background visuals, but in its statements.
Yeah, and the story it's telling, it's making no concession to any of the American mythology at the time about the West.
We're kind of resistant to the Western here. We haven't slated a lot of them into our Studios series for a few reasons. One of them is that we don't like that particular kind of American myth-making that draws so many to the genre. Another being that women often do not have prominent roles in them, and we find ourselves kind of bored when that's the case.
And this movie doesn't exactly give a great role to Gloria Grahame or Joanne Gilbert. Gloria Grahame kind of has a moment at the end which made use of her in an interesting way.
The sad part about her role in this movie is that you can see what it's supposed to be, and for some reason the movie just decides to not take the time to give that role what it should have. It's even sadder when I read in the Gloria Grahame Bad Girl of Film Noir book that the character in the novel is so much more involved in the storyline. And that would have put this movie over the edge to being 3 to 3.5 or 3.5 to 4 stars in my mind. Because here, listen to what that book has to say about it. In Bert Arthur's original novel, Amy is even more important to the story. She has a brief affair with Tate, is quite hysterical when Billy is killed, befriends Pretty Willow more earnestly, and actually sets out to kill Captain George when she is convinced that he is going to rape the Indian maiden. And you can see the movie just barely gesturing in that direction, but of course, as Gloria Grahame fans, we would like to actually see the scenes.
Yeah.
And let her character play that kind of role. And she's one of the big stars in the movie, in this little movie, and I don't know why they wouldn't have built up that role more instead of making it so anemic.
I don't think they had the available running time to devote to it.
That's the only answer, but things here and there could have been cut in order to develop it, would have been more interesting.
And they should have taken a little bit of the budget that went to Spartacus later. Just a little.
Well, this is the thing. I was like, okay, so who was responsible? Because nobody involved. The screenwriter's unknown, although apparently this was a pre-sold package.
Yeah, well, he produced it as well. This is obviously something he really wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But nothing is known about this screenwriter. Norman Retchen did not have a glorious career.
Got no hyperlink on Wikimedia.
The director, again, not a particularly exciting career. Although he, in 1979, shot a movie starring The Runaways called We're All Crazy Now, which was unfinished, but later completed by Alan Sachs and released in 1980 as Dubitio.
I wonder why I've never heard of this.
It's very weird. I thought that would be an interesting tidbit for you, Dave.
I'll have to track that down.
These names are just ephemera in the dust of pop culture past. So who was responsible for the radical tone of this movie? And again, every time we see a movie like this made in the Blacklist era, we have to ask that.
We know Kirk Douglas was a leftist who survived the Blacklist. It's obviously him.
Yeah, and who helped to end it.
Yeah.
With Spartacus.
Of course.
Something I really didn't know before doing research for this movie, the role that Spartacus and his promotion for it had in ending the Blacklist. How he revealed that Dalton Trumbo had written the movie, and actually I didn't even know that the novel was written by another blacklisted screenwriter that the movie was based on, Howard Fast. Did you know that?
I don't think I know much about the novel, no.
Well, there you go. And the novel and the movie, this I had no idea about, were sort of an allegory of the Blacklist.
Well, sure.
Howard Fast later was sickened by Stalinism and did renounce communism, but not at the time that he wrote this novel.
Plenty of reasons to be sickened by Stalinism.
Only in certain moods do we engage in Stalinist apologia on this podcast. Generally, we do like to stay away from it.
We do have 3 pretty respectable performers at the top of the cast list, though. We got Rory Calhoun, the great Gloria Grahame, and Lloyd Bridges, playing a real vile army captain. He was pretty good at this kind of role in the 1950s.
Yeah, the few people who actually discuss this movie do talk about his performance in particular, and also, how this has got to be the most unflattering portrait of an American army captain ever put on film.
I'd have to think about that, but he's going for it, conveying every manner of human weakness and depravity in this movie.
I'm going to say not quite every manner, because they don't take his rapey interest in Pretty Willow as far as it went in the novel.
Yeah, sure, but it's all implied in his behavior.
Definitely. I think you can just stay behind while all of the others have to leave.
God. Yeah, I do think of Lloyd Bridges as kind of the weird inheritor of the 1940s weak Kirk Douglas roles. Maybe Kirk saw something of that in his successor.
This movie would be even better with a weak Kirk Douglas in that role.
Yeah, sure. The spineless Kirk Douglas of Strangelove of Martha Ivers.
But I guess he'd passed beyond that by 1957.
No, he was not about to regress that way. So what do we have? We've got Rory Calhoun. He is our moral center of the film, but a very compromised one, because he's got this huge history of genocide that he eagerly took part in until he midway started to rethink what he was doing.
Well, the movie is going to be radical when it starts out with the perspective of the 2 main male indigenous characters.
Yeah, I really liked that opening. I mean, they're walking. They run into Pretty Willow, the chief's daughter, and she asks them why they're walking. Got to save their horses. They have hardly any steeds that they can use if it comes to a battle. They've got to tread out there on foot and march into town and try to make this offer, this last-ditch offer to the army captain.
And you can feel the awful vulnerability when they're walking through this, what looks like a ghost town, but everybody's just kind of lurking behind the scenes, the white settlers.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. It's a Twilight Zone episode, and it conveys the horrifying menace of a lurking white mob. It just isn't pulling any punches. These guys are the villains. There's no question.
White people are really terrifying in this movie. I mean, in the other way in which it's not pulling any punches, and in which it is very radical, is over and over and over again. The white characters are blatantly saying that we took this land by force. Now, they color that as we therefore have a right to it. But that's, first of all, internationally considered not true at this point, and also it's not the way it's usually mythologized in the Western.
The story from the first arrival in North America was always that, well, no one one was using it the way we industrious Europeans can. So God directed us here, an errand into the wilderness.
No, here it's just might is right.
Yeah, the Malian debate. The strong do what they can, the weak suffer what they must.
A very important rhetorical point is made of that at the end of the movie, but we'll get there.
Lloyd Bridges is a very entertaining and skillfully conveyed caricature. I mean, he's just a monster. There's no effort to try to understand even what he is. The best they offer in terms of psychology is that he's afraid, and so that makes him even more disgusting.
Well, he's a symbol.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the mob, which is the town, the movie does try to explain why they are this way, right? All of them, including Gloria Grahame, have had loved ones murdered. They just can't get past it.
Oh yeah, I mean, the analogy that leaps to mind right now at this cultural moment is, of course, the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Yeah, it's the cycle of vengeance, and this movie is saying someone's got to stop it. Someone has to step back from this, even though everyone feels like they have some reason for going on and killing more people on the other side. And the side that has the overwhelming advantage in military might, it would behoove them to make that first step. That's what the movie is saying.
Yeah, of course, except that how they're fascists and white supremacists.
They're not doing it.
Chief Yellow Wolf and Chief Little Wolf have not come to beg. They have come to bargain.
Yeah, now that, it's a miscalculation. I don't see how the chief really thinks this is going to...
Well, he's trying to stop the fighting. That's why. And the only way to even attempt to peacefully get what they need without leaving is, this gambit.
But watching it, you can see he's just given them one more reason to come and kill them quickly. That there's gold in their territory.
Sure, but otherwise it was going to go Chief Little Wolf's way.
Yeah, it's a last-ditch effort. There's no real solution here.
No.
As the movie makes clear, I mean, it ends with a forced march to Oklahoma, which is how most of these situations ended.
And again, watching movies from the studio era, from the 30s through the 50s, we keep getting educated on how often Western and Western adjacent movies come back to this scene. And this is something we didn't know about when we watched Killers of the Flower Moon, right? How long a history of Hollywood movies on topics related to it there already was.
I know the history, but it does seem to creep into far more classic era films than I had any idea of.
And those films are always more interesting than just a Western. In terms of their topics, I'm not saying no Westerns are interesting movies.
At a certain point, we've got to start admitting that there are a lot of interesting Westerns out there. As much as we've badmouthed the genre.
I know. We already had an interesting leftist Western with Gloria Grahame before.
Roughshod.
Roughshod, yeah. And it is making me grudgingly admit, how many more interesting Westerns are out there? Maybe it's just the critics that have made the Western boring.
And the 50s are particularly rich. I mean, we know about the Anthony Mann movies too, which are all excellent.
But it's fascinating. I've been feeling lately, watching Hollywood movies from the 50s for the podcast. Oh, particularly with this Gloria Grahame series. It's fascinating how far left ideas kept getting into Hollywood movies even through and after the blacklist.
Yeah, they have to go a little bit more underground, unless you're dealing with historical topics. There they can flourish like this.
Yeah, but even the Grahame movie about
immigration.
And you do wonder, how does Gloria Grahame, because I haven't found anyone writing about what her personal politics were, is it a coincidence that she just keeps ending up in these movies?
You definitely always read that she was a Democrat coming out of the FDR era, but I don't know anything beyond that. So Rory Calhoun, I thought he was very good in this movie.
I mean, sometimes, and you don't know whether it's his fault or the movie's runtime fault, but he's not quite as emotive as he could be. Well, okay, let's get to this major plot point. It was pretty astonishing how the movie showed the raiding Indians who are getting revenge for the murder of Chief Yellow Wolf, which among the white settlers, only Rory Calhoun admits that it's even a murder, how they shoot a small child who seems to be the most important thing in the world to Tate, along with Pretty Willow, shoot him in the back. and kill him. And obviously you expect that at some point the revenge of this movie is going to come into play and it's going to throw all of its liberal ideas out of the window. Child murder is not a thing that happens that often in Hollywood movies at all.
No, it's a pretty intense consequence.
But he does not waver at all in his new ideals.
No, he doesn't. Now, he does undertake this mission to assassinate Little Wolf.
But not in revenge.
No, he figures this is the only way to prevent an eruption of total catastrophe. But he can't do it.
Yeah, he says he can't commit cold-blooded murder. Fighting is one thing. Later they do have a to-the-death fight.
Well, not really, because Lloyd Bridges shows up and shoots both of them.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a to-the-death fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can't just commit cold-blooded murder now that he's decided that you can, in fact, murder an Indian.
I think he does a really good job of conveying the hard-fought change of heart now guiding his life.
Which seems to have been brought about by love.
Well, love and just this brutal history of his. He's respected in the town even though nobody agrees with him because he's the best at killing people. He's demonstrated that many, many times. He's the marshal for a significant portion of the movie until they take the star away from him.
And it's also very interesting the way the movie shows little Billy just spouting horrible racist shit.
Yeah, it was a really interesting use of a child because it starts out, yeah, he's saying stupid stuff and Rory Calhoun tells him, hey, you're never going to get your horse talking that way. This is, not a game going out and killing Indians. And the kid is like, okay, Tate, sorry.
But what the movie shows...
He just gets worse, the kid.
But yeah, and we also know, he's just a kid. It's not only that he's absorbing the feelings of literally everybody in the town other than Tate.
Yeah, and he and Gloria Grahame are clearly sitting around the apartment while Rory's out, just talking shit about their neighbors.
But he also knows that his parents were killed by Indians.
Yeah, it's understandable, but I was absolutely prepared for the movie to be guiding Billy, and through Billy, us, toward these epiphanies, right? Because Rory Calhoun's already had it. If it's making a plea to the audience to start rethinking this mythology, you would think it would come through the eyes of Billy, but no, Billy gets killed, and he never repents or learns anything.
No, a normal movie would have Amy and Billy together learn better. But this is way more dark and pessimistic about the effects of racism and racial conflict.
On the other hand, Gloria Grahame does wind up being our identification character, and that was a rabbit trick I wasn't expecting. Because...
No, I was completely expecting...
Were you?
I was totally expecting, with the casting of a relative star in the role, totally expecting this trajectory for Amy.
It takes its sweet time about it.
Well, yeah, they draw it out and they make you wonder. The turning point is when she's taking care of Pretty Willow, and what I hated about it is that we see the result, but we don't actually see her develop this respect for Pretty Willow. We don't get scenes between the women. And yes, the runtime of 78 minutes is a big problem here to the story. The main problem with this movie is obviously that they didn't fully adapt the book.
The rest of the movie, very tense set pieces, very hard to guess exactly how it's going to go. Is everyone going to wind up dead? It winds up pulling a Lloyd Bridges ex machina by having him go completely mental and wild in order to get the gold, by betraying everybody. He's working both sides. There's really only Tate on Tate's side, but they have to scheme mightily to get him out of the way. There doesn't seem to be any thought of shooting him in the back in the town, which is what I was thinking they were going to do. But no, Lloyd Bridges can't conceive of that. He's got to ambush him in the wilderness.
At a certain point, somebody says to somebody, it could really be anybody to anybody, if Chief Little Wolf succeeds in getting revenge by slaughtering all the townspeople, then, the army is just going to come in and slaughter all of the rest of the Cheyenne.
Yeah, well, Little Wolf knows that.
Your scenario of everybody wiping out everybody in the movie is very plausible.
Yeah, I was starting to think it was going to go that way when they're having the council meeting, right? People tell him. I mean, I guess Pretty Willow tells him, but others are also agreeing, and Little Wolf says it's true. It's hopeless, but we're going to do it anyway. We have to take a stand.
Because we're not going to leave.
That's right. Even though, the town is temporarily under garrisoned, there's no question of them actually winning because the army, there's always more army. And we know that the army is on the way. The cavalry is coming. And in most movies of this type, obviously that would be exciting news. Here, it's just like more monstrous hordes out of Mordor are coming.
And it's interesting, the tense relationship between Pretty Willow and Tate, where she is using him for information, but they both openly know that.
Yeah, I really found that stuff fascinating. And she keeps saying to her brother, who assumes leadership, don't make me do this, but he does. And so she heads over to the meeting place, talks with Tate. And yeah, they're both trying to get information out of each other.
Not secretly, they transparently know this is happening.
But it's worth the kisses.
And she does try to kill him at one point because she thinks he's going to kill her brother. Then they're kissing moments later.
This is the passion born of very dire circumstances. Let's move to the finale.
We've got a lot of movies to cover. We have Tate being the mouthpiece for what seems like a reassuring studio ending, that will let this movie off the hook for all of its radical politics by saying something he's been hinting at throughout, which is all of this is okay. It's okay that we've made the Cheyenne move because this is just progress. This is just what happens when there's winners and losers and progress and change. And we've heard that message at the end of Westerns before. Oh, it's just too bad, but change happens. But then we switch back for the final words to the Indigenous perspective again with the words of Pretty Willow, who says, so what happens if someone comes and tries to kick the white people out?
And succeeds.
And succeeds.
Will they have any reason to complain? No.
And will they try to fight for their land?
Of course they'll try to fight, and if they lose, then, well, that's just how it goes. That's progress.
And that's like one of the most brilliant rhetorical undercuttings. Okay, I was going to say it's a brilliant rhetorical undercutting of white supremacy. Although, of course, real fascists will tell you that the world is a racial war, and that's exactly why people have to fight. But obviously that is not this movie's message.
Yeah, it could be misconstrued if seen through one of our darkest contemporary lenses. But as you say, it's intending to cause people to rethink their ideas about the mythology.
The message is intended to be, you too could lose. This is a historical contingency, what has happened, and you too are subject to historical contingency.
More than that, it's implying you two are going to lose, and how are you going to feel about that? And if you can project yourself forward that way, maybe you can start undoing all of the vicious work of this ruling myth of America, of free land. All right, here we move on to Odds Against Tomorrow from 1959. Maltin gives this 3 stars out of a possible 4. Brutal robbery story with entire cast pulling out all stops. Taut, exciting drama. Jazz score by John Lewis. The film debut of Wayne Rogers. Director is Robert Weiss. And the cast list, Harry Belafonte, Robert Ryan, Shelley Winters, Ed Begley, Gloria Grahame.
This is more accomplished filmmaking, but...
it's beautifully shot.
Yeah, but politically it feels very much of a piece with Ride Out for Revenge and this left liberal, or even further left than liberal, early civil rights era.
A lot of what it seems to want to say is that people have to put aside prejudices and bury the cycle of vengeance.
Or we're all going to, everybody in the world, the ending isn't subtle. Everybody in the world is going to end up killing each other.
Your description of the ending not being subtle... Yeah, it's the least subtle ending of any film ever, possibly.
Yeah, this was Robert Wise's idea, not Abraham Polonsky's. So this was written by a blacklistee, although he wasn't credited at the time. He was personally chosen as a screenplay writer by Harry Belafonte, who produced this movie.
Belafonte was amazing in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of people think this is his best role.
And it's a shame that he didn't get nearly enough roles of this caliber going forward.
Using the indispensable Goodreads reader review, indispensable for research for this podcast, for research into the novel, the source materials behind these movies, I did find out about changes from the novel, which was by the same author as The Big Heat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the novel, The Big Heat. William P. McGivern. So the novel had the much more conventional trajectory of the Southern racist and the black man coming to understand each other.
Yeah, that definitely does not happen in this movie.
Although something the movie does retain, that Polonsky's screenplay does retain, which is interesting, is that as long as he's not around a black person, Robert Bryan isn't quite the monster. Well, he is. He is the monster from Crossfire, but he is presented in a way that he's a human being you can sympathize with.
He's mostly just a sad sack. Ryan is great in the movie, for sure. Not likable.
But he seems to genuinely, although he doesn't express it in the greatest way, genuinely be in love with Shelley Winters.
Oh yeah, their relationship is really interesting. He's got all these insecurities that are eating away at that relationship as well. Everywhere he goes, his insecurities come with him and cause problems. When he goes to that bar and feels the need to beat up Wayne Rogers.
Oh my god, that scene is...
It's really good. It's so much better than the ending of the movie. Just that one scene.
It's so terrifying, but at the same time, as soon as he nearly kills this kid for challenging him, he's immediately sad and apologetic.
It's a very nuanced performance.
Something that he never is, though, to Harry Belafonte. He's from the South. He has grown up with these prejudices. They're not going to go anywhere at this point.
No, there's no epiphany coming.
Just
a gasoline-fueled pyre.
Yeah, and completely screwing up the heist.
Utterly. Poor Ed Begley.
Oh my god, the number of times he gets shot.
Ed Begley was really good in this movie. He's a very familiar face from classic Hollywood films, but usually he's in like one little scene as the dean of a university or some other prosperous townsman. Here, I mean, he is the architect of the entire scheme. He's got a lot to do. It's a singularly uninspiring cameo by Gloria Grahame, I would say, in this movie. So that's got to be a little bit of a demerit from our perspective as Acteurist Oeuvre-viewers.
She mainly shows up
to annoy Robert Bryan and then to give him a chance to fuck up his relationship even more by having horrible, loveless sex with her.
Right, and she gets turned on by him describing how much he likes killing people.
She's an unsavory person all around, this Gloria Grahame character, the next door neighbor.
But she still plays it like an innocent child, asking the question, tell me more about how it feels to kill somebody. How did you feel? Did you like it? Or whatever the hell she says.
It's well done. Probably no one else could have done it better.
I mean, like, every single line is given a counterintuitive reading. She's not playing it, she never does, she's not playing it like a depraved, sadistic slut, which is, I guess, how it's written.
Yeah, she's an annoying woman next door.
Who's interested in murder.
And just this once, having sex with Robert Bryan to get back at her stupid husband.
But she's, it's complex. Just like Ryan himself is complex. She's worried about her baby the whole time. He has to keep reassuring her that you really can hear the baby from here.
He's like, don't worry, we hear that fucking baby all night.
I don't know if this is an artifact of Belafonte and Polonsky's socialist politics, but did you feel like the movie was, even before the unsubtle ending, proposing that Harry Belafonte's character himself is a problem because of his resentment of the white middle class that comes out in his, his concerns about his ex-wife assimilating?
No, I think there's interesting dramatic nuance there. There's no nuance in the way people are expressing themselves, but it's a valid criticism. The way that she's choosing to approach things is not going to solve the problem of class and race in America. It's just going to possibly make things a little easier for her and her child. But he's against it because he doesn't believe this will redound to the benefit of everyone else that doesn't have the luxury of living in this nice apartment.
But it's unfortunate then, because the ending kind of underlines and makes it seem like the point was that somehow both of these men are at fault.
Yeah, that's why I hate it. I think it really almost wrecks the movie.
Okay. We're all colorblind when we're charred nuclear corpses.
Belafonte and Robert Bryan are not equally at fault in this drama.
Exactly. That's why I was a little concerned by that thread in the movie.
It's there and it's disturbing. It would have been more interesting to see them hash that out a little bit more and have his ex-wife give her side and maybe they come to some kind of more interesting resolution to their debate. But it really doesn't go anywhere because it is trying to establish Belafonte as a doomed man who's going to be blown up.
Yeah, even though he doesn't have any part in fucking up the heist. That was all Robert Bryan's doing. doing.
100%.
Should call back here for a moment to Ride Out to Vengeance and the fact that, as much as we may be rooting for the interracial romance between Tate and Pretty Willow, it's offering us the only solution for the Indians, assimilation as the only solution to this cycle of mutual murder if we run away and escape from this and form an interracial relationship that will, of course, be to the benefit ultimately of the white agenda.
Yeah, I think it's to the first film's credit that it makes it very clear this is not going to solve any problems. Whether they're in love or not doesn't have any bearing on a positive resolution of the conflict we've been watching. And Odds Against Tomorrow just seems to lean way too heavily on this idea that everyone's just got to calm down. Whether you're a good old boy from the South who was raised incorrectly and now hates everyone that isn't like him, or whether you're Harry Belafonte who's got a chip on his shoulder because he's met too many people like Robert Ryan and he can't forget it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an equivalent situation.
Yeah, and it definitely, for all the richness of the movie, for all that it gives Harry Belafonte this rich and interesting character, and also Robert Ryan, for that matter, and great role for Shelley Winters.
Yeah, I really liked her.
It does take the movie down a few notches in quality, I think. So this is a very particular movie of its moment, and it is making a choice for humanism over politics.
Yeah, it's got beautiful pictorial qualities. I mean, just one of the best looking late 50s on location noirs I've ever seen. Weiss just nails every shot.
Well, people really talk about the use of infrared film, Weiss's idea.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That makes it a movie that you need to see, that and the performances. But the general trend of the script leaves a lot to be desired.
It's ironic that such political characters as Polonsky and Belafonte were involved in making this movie that ultimately, we're arguing anyway, backs away from political reality.
It doesn't have nearly the trenchant qualities of Ride Out for Revenge.
So you actually preferred the political message of Ride Out for Revenge.
I wound up giving both of them 4 stars, but for totally different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's very uncomfortable for me that my favorite part of this movie was the complex depiction of a disgusting racist romantic relationship
With the charming Shelley Winters.
This is probably the most charming she is in any film of the 1950s. When she told him to fuck off, that was an amazing moment.
Oh, I thought she was really good. It just made me so angry that Shelley Winters never gets to play roles like this. She's always so much more of an outsized caricature.
And he's so actually in love with her.
They could have made a go of it, those two crazy kids.
Of course, here you go. If Shelley Winters is given a movie boyfriend who genuinely loves her, he's still got to be a sadistic racist.
Such is the lot of Shelley Winters. At least she survives this movie.
True enough, which is more than you can say for just about anybody else.
Well, Gloria Grahame survives too. And Belafonte's ex-wife and child, they were great too. Just a nice portrayal all around of the late 1950s jazz milieu.
Yeah, especially when he goes nuts in the club and annoys the singer.
Oh, that was incredible.
That's his best scene, I think.
The most virtuosic, for sure. And we fast forward to 1966 for Ride Beyond Vengeance. For the most part, we stopped with Gloria Grahame's filmography in the late 50s, but we did want to include this one because we thought it was a sequel. It's a Western. It's got Gloria Grahame. It has to have something to do with the earlier film.
No.
It doesn't. Let's hear what Malton says about it. 2.5 stars out of a possible 4. Good supporting cast makes the most of stereotyped roles in flashback account of Connor's sundry encounters with outlaws.
Stereotyped roles? What does he think this movie is?
Well, we'll discuss. Director Bernard McCavity, and the cast list: Chuck Connors, Michael Rennie, Catherine Hayes, Joan Blondell, Gloria Grahame, Gary Merrill, Bill Bixby, James MacArthur, Claude Akins, Paul Fix, Ruth Warwick, and Arthur O'Connell.
Good grief.
That is a good supporting cast.
The movie itself presents this as a tall tale.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It starts in modern day Texas, There's someone reading a Batlash comic book, which those were published in the 60s, so this is supposed to be happening then. You've got a census taker and graduate student who stops in at a bar and is regaled with the saga of Chuck Connors, the tiger.
I really like Chuck Connors in this movie.
Chuck Connors is great. Well, we've seen him in other movies. We wound up talking about him a fair bit in Old Yeller. He's the original owner of Old Yeller who shows up.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this movie was really openly, pulpily sadistic in a very much comic book way. So I don't think it's any accident that someone is reading a Western comic at the beginning of the movie. It's obviously taking inspiration from that sort of thing. It felt at times like Chuck Connors in this movie was the inspiration for Jonah Hex.
It really burrows into the grossest aspects of the Western mythology. It has a field day there.
It seems like his lower class status is depicted as if he's walking around wearing human flesh, you know, instead of the filth of all the buffaloes that he's killed.
Yeah, the stench that clings to him throughout most of the scenes.
It's like Killer of Sheep. It's like his low-class status is represented by the fact that he has to filthy himself with killing in order to earn money.
For 15 years?
11.
11 years.
Yeah, which is a long time to be away from your wife.
A very long time. He probably should have written. He thought about it.
Well, they parted on difficult terms.
So this tale all unfolds. It's based on a painting that hangs in the bar of the reprisal.
A scene that happens twice. Somebody gets knocked through a bar window twice.
Yeah, well, that happens in every Western. The story of this reprisal just goes in so many odd places that you just wouldn't expect. I was captivated by this movie.
Really? The buffalo blood outfit that he wears for most of the movie is like his scarlet letter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real male melodrama of shame for his low-class status in this town and his aspiration to a higher class woman.
It starts out so promisingly from his perspective because it's got flashbacks within flashbacks, but we first encounter him on the road back to the town of his birth finally after making a killing as a buffalo hunter. $17,000?
Which would be
Can you imagine how much that would be?
Phenomenal. Didn't you think of The Great Gatsby?
Well, he's someone that's gone outside of all societal norms in order to reap a rich harvest.
For a woman.
Definitely. Although in this case, a woman he's already married to.
Doesn't matter.
He's got no friends. I mean, he's been talking to his horse for 5 years, he says.
But he doesn't even give his horse a name.
No, but he relies on that horse. The horseshoe breaks. He's like, okay, I'm going to get off you because this has got to be painful for you. They wander into a camp innocuously. He is just chirping about, oh, maybe I'll help myself to some of your coffee. And then just everything goes to hell.
Well, he runs into a banker who's hanging out with a literal sadist.
The two literal sadists.
A dandy sadist.
Yeah, Bill Bixby. What a fucking maniac. And Claude Akins. Just one of the most unhinged performances I've ever seen, and I've seen plenty. There are wheels within wheels here because they come upon Chuck Connors at the fire where he's trying to just get warm with some coffee. They accuse him immediately of rustling cattle.
Right.
But Claude Akins is the one that's been rustling the cattle. So he's kind of in a bind here, as he admits later, talking to other people and to his imaginary friend, Whiskey Man. He's got to take action here and make sure to affix the blame on Chuck Connors, otherwise it's all going to come back on him. So this is why he is so vociferously accusatory. They want to hang him. Michael Rennie is this banker who is trying to angle for marriage with the estranged wife of Chuck Connors, although nobody knows this is Chuck Connors. He just stands around and complains as these guys get more and more hysterical in what they're going to do to him. He draws the line at hanging, but does not stop them from branding him with a hot iron multiple times.
So film critic Glenn Erickson apparently called Bill Bixby woefully inadequate in this movie. Jonesy boy. I thought he was great. Horrifyingly. What else are you supposed to do with this role?
Yeah, he's a sick bastard. They're drunk and they just keep upping the ante. Ends with branding. I mean, they just do a number on Chuck Connors. And all of his dreams evaporate evaporate. He passes out. He wakes up the next morning. There's an old timer who's like, boy, you got some bad damage here. I'm gonna put a poultice on you. Tries to mend him as best he can. Later we find out this guy is Claude Aiken's accomplice in the cattle rustling.
Chuck Connors is so vulnerable in this movie, though. Passive, masochistic, tortured, physically tortured noir hero like 100 times over.
Yeah, and they just do an incredible job, I think, of emphasizing the dual aspect of the tiger. He's a massive guy. He's bigger than anyone else, but he's also, been through hell. He's got gaping wounds all over his body, we know. For the longest time, he just can't seem to get a bath or a shave.
And he's walking around in stinking, blood-soaked skin.
He can do a lot of damage, too, as we see, as the reprisal goes into effect.
How did you like the role of his wife, Jessie Trapp?
I thought it was very interesting. She's in a tough place.
She's certainly assertive.
I thought she did a good job. I don't know that actress. I wouldn't mind seeing more of her, Catherine Hayes.
Oh, apparently best known for appearing for decades on As the World Turns.
Well, there you go. That's a soap opera I don't think I've ever seen.
No, me neither, but soap operas have their place.
So at a certain point during the story that Arthur O'Connell is telling, there's a flashback. I guess it's while he's lying there, burned nearly to death, right? That's when Chuck Connors has his flashback to his courtship of his wife. So he is the son of a no account, played by Gary Merrill, and she lives in the nicest house in town with her aunt, Ruth Warwick. Of course, she could never accept a guy like Chuck Connors in her family, but, I mean, Jessie is assertive enough, as you say, to go against her family and all of the respectable people of the town.
But she's also assertive enough to go against her husband when he's not doing what she wants.
That's right. She's got a plan. It does include Chuck Connors.
But he leaves when he, as he says, realizes he's just there to sexually service her.
You could see how that, I suppose, would be a blow to a man's ego in Western times. These days, I think most men would be overjoyed to hear that this is what they're good for.
Well, it's the same objection that Robert Ryan has in Odds Against Tomorrow, right before Shelley Winters tells him, you are old and you can go to hell.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a thread uniting some of these films.
I definitely can see both sides here, particularly when Jessie later...
Yeah, well, when we find out how precarious her upperclassness was.
Well, that, and also the fact that, she tells him, my aunt wasn't faking. I really did need to look after her. She died soon after that.
She did, and it was all a house of cards. The family fortune that people assumed they had did not exist any longer. Everyone called in their debts. Jessie was turned out of her house and managed to survive by getting loans and starting a dress shop, which is where we find her when the Buffalo Hunter returns. So he's way richer than she is until they stole his money.
I don't know if this is a flaw in her performance or if this is perfectly executed by the movie, but I really did believe her when she kept insisting she's in love with the banker, who turns out to not be a terrible guy considering the company he keeps and the fact that he is the thief.
Yeah, but he's a spineless weasel.
Sure. So yeah, she does come around in the end to realizing that she still does love Jonah.
She didn't love him when she first saw him in his tramp guise, though. Get away from me, you filthy bum, or whatever she says.
Yeah, it was like a revisitation of the It's a Wonderful Life horror sequence.
I don't know you. Get away from me.
So we probably shouldn't take that long about this movie. Gloria Grahame's role again.
Well, this is a thankless one.
Absolutely thankless. For pretty much the first time, she is not playing an object of desire. She's in her 40s now. We get to hear the disgusting Jonesy boy describe how disgusting she is.
He talks about her pores. And yeah, he's just sleeping with her in order to get some money out of her, and then he's going to run away with Maria.
And she doesn't even get to play that role because that's how underwritten it is. Again, this is a role that had a lot more interest in the novel that the movie's based on, and most of her material got cut.
Oh, that's a real shame. Now, if we had known what her role was going to be like, we definitely would not have covered this movie. However, I'm glad we did because I found it really interesting. And the ending of the film took me by surprise as well. You've got this seemingly unending nightmare that sort of comes to a halt, but it doesn't resolve any of the problems, even though Jessie's had this change of heart about about him. She's been considering him a disgusting, blood-soaked relic of her past that she wants nothing to do with. By the end, she's, as you said, come back around. Her feelings for him have been rekindled, but he just has no taste for being in that town ever again and leaves. And Arthur O'Connell says, well, you can imagine any sequel to that you want, but we certainly don't see anything like a happy ending here.
Yeah, it's like Scarlett O'Hara vowing to go after Rhett, except she's not even actually vowing it.
No, she's not. It's just someone telling her. You could do that. I don't think she's going to. I think it's over.
This is your take. So this has all been a waste.
Just a quagmire for every person that we meet in this movie. I mean, a lot of them wind up dead.
Just because these two people who were not suited to each other due to class were attracted to each other. This is what's caused all of this.
Yeah, and they weren't able to come to any kind of an understanding before he left to go hunt buffalo.
And he won't take his money back either, speaking of a waste.
No, well, he's got nothing to do with it. He's just going to go back to the wilderness and find another horse to talk to. I was impressed by this movie.
It was interesting. It was also really sick.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you would read this comic?
Well, possibly. I don't know. It's not the kind of thing that I would think I would like, but watching it, I was quite taken with the bold strokes.
Especially Chuck Connors in that fucking outfit.
And Claude Akins talking to Whiskey Man. He gets to say a fond farewell to his imaginary friend as he expires on the street. Not before he has killed several of the people that he's been working with. When he just shows up and tramples the pepper patch of the old timer and then ties him to the horse and kills him.
Oh, speaking of gross and sadistic, unnecessary touches. That was so horrifying. It was a real horror movie.
It was. And a horrible way for us to end Gloria Grahame's career, sadly.
Well, I mean, we ended it before her actual horror movie starring period began.
That's true.
I'm happy enough to end it in this place.
All right, so let's take some time and declare our Gloria Grahame top 10s.
I'm gonna let you go first. Obviously, as ever, we're trying in a completely subjective and non-quantifiable way to consider both how good the movie is and how good her role and performance are.
Right, because otherwise It's a Wonderful Life would be number one.
Of course.
Because it's one of the greatest movies ever made. There are several great movies on this list. I really did try to make it equal parts greatness, particularly for Gloria Grahame, and greatness of the film in general. Here's what I came up with. It might be completely different if I redid this exercise next week, but number 1, The Big Heat.
Okay.
Number 2, It's a Wonderful Life. Number 3, In a Lonely Place. Number 4, Crossfire. Number 5, Human Desire. Number 6, A Woman's Secret. Number 7, The Cobweb. Number 8, Roughshod. Number 9, The Glass Wall. And number 10, The Bad and the Beautiful. Her Oscar-winning role.
So we agreed on everything, at least same inclusion of films, other than The Bad and the Beautiful.
No, you didn't have it on
I just
there.
wasn't that interested in her role in that movie. I like the movie.
No, me neither, but I figured it really should be on there. It's the only hardware she ever took home. She deserves it.
Yeah, that couldn't make me put it on there. So I put number 1, In a Lonely Place, as the perfect balance of her best role and, in terms of quality of performance and screen time. It's her only starring role in an important movie. So, and of course, the importance of the movie. So that was number 1. Big Heat, number 2. Number 3, It's a Wonderful Life. Number 4, Crossfire. Number 5, The Cobweb. I was really even more impressed by the movie on the second viewing, and her role is very interesting in it. Number 6, Human Desire. Number 7, The Glass Wall. Number 8, A Woman's Secret. Number 9, Blonde Fever.
Yeah, it could have been on there too.
It's a big role for her, and it's a good comic role. And number 10, Roughshod, with honorable mention for The Greatest Show on Earth. Now, I'm interested, Dave, because you said you really like her in this role. Oklahoma didn't get on there.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of good movies. It was hard to pick. It was hard to narrow it down to 10. I could certainly kick out Bad and the Beautiful and put in Oklahoma.
All right, fair enough.
But Blonde Fever is excellent. I could certainly see an argument for Merton of the Movies, even. She's hilarious in that.
True, it's a very small role, but so are a lot of these.
I put It's a Wonderful Life so high up because not only is it an amazing movie, and she is great in it, even though it's a smaller role, but it established so much of the acteurist qualities essential to her persona.
Like we said early on, she's such a unique character in film history in being a character actress who is also a sex symbol. The way that she doesn't get slotted into either the, for the most part, when directors are adhering to her persona, she doesn't get slotted into either the femme fatale or the good girl film noir role.
A liminal noir space that only Gloria Grahame can occupy. Her passionate ambivalence is such a powerful aspect of so many of the films that we discussed.
Well, give me a specific example then of her ambivalence.
Crossfire. Like, what does she want in that movie? She seems equally unimpressed with almost every scenario she's presented with, and yet she is not sitting back and being dull about it either. She's pretty charged up.
Yeah, and she's pretty fucking ambivalent in A Lonely Place, which gives her a particular quality of opacity that isn't just, the femme fatale mask. Homme passive,
No.
Jane Greer in Out of the Past.
There are all kinds of things going on, but it's hard for anyone around her and anyone watching the film to feel confident that they know what is going on, and she certainly doesn't express her preferences very often.
So you're arguing that her ambivalence is what gives her ambiguity.
That's right. Okay, now let us begin on our odyssey of film going at the cinema this week.
What do you want to tackle first?
Let's start with our two films viewed at the Carlton. The Usual Suspects we saw several days ago. This is a movie you've never seen before.
Yeah, but I had a real synchronicity effect with it. So we watched this movie. I had never seen this movie before, never heard of Kaiser Soze. So the twist was, Sixth Sense level for me. I was not expecting any kind of twist. I never expect a twist. And then within the next couple of weeks, I encountered Kaiser Soze in two completely different contexts. A Reddit discussion of the TV show The Chair Company, and I think there was a reference to it in Seth Rogen's new show The Studio. Anyway, it was two TV contexts, but so I had the synchronicity effect where you learn a new thing and then it keeps popping up for you everywhere in your awareness.
I'm not sure Kaiser Soze has entered the cultural lexicon. Did you like the movie?
I was a little bit bored. Absolutely, Kevin Spacey. This is an all-time phenomenal Kevin Spacey weirdo performance.
Yeah, right up there with LA Confidential, where he utters the other immortal name, Rollo Tomasi. Hopefully that will come up for you shortly. It's never been a favorite film of mine, and I liked it less on this reviewing than I did in the 90s.
Yeah, it's a bit boring, isn't it?
There's not a lot there.
Other than the twist.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey is really the main reason to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that really fell flattest for me was any sense of stakes in Gabriel Byrne's relationship with the lawyer. Like, if there's supposed to be some, at least misdirection, that there's a love story going on there, I mean, they really didn't sell it.
Yeah, there's really no women in this movie. But Kevin Spacey's performance is pretty awesome in the way that you feel like, right from the beginning, even when you're taking this character at face value, somehow you feel like this character is fucking with everybody. And at the same time that Kevin Spacey is also fucking with you with his performance. His self-presentation is that of a man who is trying to trigger you with his self-presentation. Don't you think?
Talking about some gross stuff.
Well, no, I even mean his mannerisms, his effeminacy, but effeminacy that is off-kilter.
Yeah, those scenes are fun, the interrogation scenes. I mean, it's all an interrogation, but so much of it is dramatized that it doesn't always feel like that. But Chaz Palminteri so haughtily claiming that he's smarter than Verbal Kint and he's going to get what he needs out of him, and Spacey agreeing, yeah, I'm stupid, why are you pushing me around? He's a con man. Like, I don't understand how the police don't realize.
Do you really want to spoil The Usual Suspects, though, in our podcast? I know we spoil everything.
Yeah, well, everyone knows the
I
twist.
didn't know!
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to see it. I figured it'd be worthwhile.
$5.
A decent night out, but nowhere near the top of 90s neo-noir, I don't think.
People are still referring to it. The trope of the Kaiser Soze.
Yeah, sure. It's a great name to conjure with. Verbal Kint, also a great name. There's the first time I ever saw Benicio del Toro, too, who makes an impact in this movie with his almost incomprehensible accent that he's using. And we just saw him in a performance with much more gravitas in One Battle After Another as the sensei.
Yeah, true.
All right, well, let's move on to The Daytrippers. Now, this one is one of my favorite 90s movies.
Tell us some more about that.
Well, last time on Fear and Moviegoing in Toronto, I mentioned that I saw Hard Eight by Paul Thomas Anderson and immediately knew that I was seeing the birth of a great auteur's career. I wouldn't say I felt exactly that way about The Daytrippers, but I was sure Greg Mottola was headed for big things. And I definitely felt like, okay, well, Hope Davis and Parker Posey are going to be megastars.
Well, Parker Posey, not a megastar, but she's certainly a star.
In their indie world, yes, both of them are incredibly important.
Hey, Parker Posey was just on White Lotus, Dave.
Yeah. No, she's an institution. And Hope Davis had many excellent roles, but I always thought she was going to be a bigger deal than she became. That's the world's fault. That's not her fault.
It does look like she's done a lot of theater work.
And yeah, everything about The Daytrippers captivated me. An excellent supporting cast. The script I thought was really fun and interesting.
The reveal's kind of problematic.
And I really have to think about that. Like, Stanley Tucci is not playing a villain in this movie.
No, he is depicted as a selfish man. I think that is how we're supposed to feel about him at the end when he's asking her to help him figure out his sexuality.
Yeah, sure, of course. But he is giving it his all in that performance. And you really feel the anguish.
Sure.
That he's been tamping down for like a whole year pretending it's not there. I think that scene between them is amazing. And I can't think of any other film where that kind of dynamic develops that intensely between two people and goes the way that it does.
You've shown me this movie twice at home, and both times I fell asleep. That's how quiet it is on the surface, despite the explosive revelation.
Which you never saw before this time.
Well, I'm sure I saw it, but I was half asleep and didn't retain it. I did stay awake for the theatrical viewing, and it's definitely an interesting script with great performances. I was impressed by the amount of character detail under the overly clever dialogue, some of which is very funny, nevertheless, centering on...
Liev Schreiber?
Yeah, Liev Schreiber's character, Carl. It's such an interesting addition to the family dynamic that he is loved by everybody and he is genuinely part of the family, but at the same time he's an annoying nerd and overbearing in his relationship with Parker Posey, right? And she needs to get out of it. But he's also not presented as a villain.
He's a really lovable guy, but he's also really fucking annoying. He's a pretentious snob who actually doesn't know many things that he thinks he knows. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Why is he talking about the working class as if they're some abstraction over there that he has no firsthand knowledge of?
Because that's his whole world. Everything's abstractions to him. This is how he's gotten into such a bad way of conceiving of the universe. He can't even see who he is. He's not a member of the aristocracy, and he's never going to be, right?
He's maybe the single most interesting character in the movie, where he's romanticizing the working class. What is it? They're connected to the earth. They have God.
And again, that's why he doesn't see himself as being one of them, but he certainly is. I mean, he's struggling for existence as a construction worker. Anna Mara is amazing as the really wild and crazy mother. Campbell Scott, I love his... There are, I guess, a bit more than cameos. He shows up twice to hit on both of the sisters.
Yeah, this really dark and troubled relationship between the parents. That note that keeps getting hit is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And very, I wouldn't say it's an exactly relatable family dynamic, but everybody can relate to having complicated and dark family dynamics.
I think we've all had...
Even within this close and loving family that's so close and loving, they go on a whole day trip adventure trying to solve the mystery of Hope Davis's cheating husband.
Marcia Gay Harden, I love her little appearance near the end as the drunk woman at the party. Thinks that Hope Davis is her best friend all of a sudden.
Well, she's, completely losing her shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really a pretty great screenplay by Greg Mottola.
I know he's done a lot of work in television.
He came back to the movies to do Superbad.
Right.
Adventureland, and a few other things.
Yeah, so I mean, he's still out there. He could become a massive success at any time, but I was expecting it sooner.
I mean, Superbad.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Everybody watched Superbad, although I've only now come to respect Seth Rogen after watching season 1 of The Studio.
All right, and we'll end with a brief discussion, because we will be covering most of these movies at some point in depth as main features. One of them we already have as part of our Setsuko Hara Acteurist Oeuvre-view, but we'll go through them. So Floating Clouds kicked off the series. It's from the mid-1950s. We had seen it once before.
Well, it's one of many Naruse films based on a novel by Fumiko Hayashi.
Possibly a subject for There's Sometimes a Buggy book club episode one day.
Decades in the future. In a way, this is the most impressive Naruse movie I've seen, just in that it's relentlessly despairing.
It's not a good time.
A relationship between a woman who is desperately clinging to a relationship with a man who's completely unable to access his emotions for anyone, including her. Although he realizes he loves her, but he can't access it.
No. And I mean, he's married. They started an affair during World War II, as Japan is ultimately losing the struggle against the Americans.
And they keep being drawn back to this wartime relationship, but at the same time they can't move forward with it. I think I was really struck. Now I'm about to spoil the ending of this movie, so stop right now and watch it because it's a masterpiece. But on this viewing, I was really struck by the fact that the moment when he's able to access his feelings for her, when his memory of her finally comes alive again, takes on life, is when he puts lipstick on her corpse.
Yeah, it's a striking image. She's dead. He can now feel things for her with the addition of a little lipstick to call her back to life, but not have to deal with her as a living person. I don't know who came up with that. Maybe it's even in the novel.
Well, I mean, we often hear references to that trope in relation to film noir, or there are hints of Henry James melodrama, Wings of the Dove, here, right? The portrait movie, the man who falls in love with a portrait of a dead woman. But I've never seen it quite expressed this way before.
No, I mean, he's consciously taking part.
Literally necrophilia.
Yeah, it is. And it's apparently the only way he can fully give vent to his feelings, which is of no use to her, certainly Hideko Takamine, and very little use to him as well. He does seem to love his wife more as she is dying as well. I mean, we don't really see much of her, but he sticks with her through her TB, and he seems consciously stricken.
He sticks with everybody, but he also can't fully commit to the relationship. So yeah, it is a very complex, very, very dark melodrama.
Two great performances at the center of it. Masayuki Mori and Narusa's stalwart Hideko Takamine. Next up, we've got Repast. This is a film that we discussed early on in our Setsuko Hara Acteurist Oeuvre-view.
Nevertheless, I managed to forget the story behind the now controversial ending, which is that it was actually based on the final novel of the same author. And according to the Wikipedia page, the screenwriters did want to end the movie with the couple getting divorced, but the studio overrode that. And the result is an ending that seems to be trying desperately to undermine itself.
Yes, we called it the Starship Troopers of marital reconciliation films in our episode, and I don't feel any need to distance myself from that interpretation. Here, if anything, it struck me even harder how unsatisfying whatever life they have together is going to be.
Well, what seems to be happening, I mean, we do go through this emotional journey with her where by the end, I felt like I understood why she thinks her husband, played by the Japanese George Brent, as we dubbed him at the time,
Ken Urahara,
understand why she thinks he's a basically decent person. But if she thinks she is going to be fulfilled in this relationship, which she seems to think she is at the end, she's fantasizing.
Or she's just completely recalibrated her expectations.
But she seems excited and giddy at the end when she's tearing up her attempts at emotional expression, knowing that they'll be completely wasted on him.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. She's like, well, I don't want a husband that would welcome a letter like this.
I want a sloth.
I want someone who is
a decent sloth.
just like the cat, Yuri. I think we wound up comparing him to the cat last time, too. Like, just someone to take care of, someone that can't really or doesn't want to talk back. But you have this feeling for them and you want to see them do well in life. I mean, he goes through his struggles as well. We see him in scenes apart from her, dealing with minor melodrama at work, making a good decision not to throw away all the office funds on a pipe dream, the strange stuff that's happening between himself and his niece.
That's really strange. But I do recall us discussing in the episode, well, what we see is him proving that he's a good husband by the fact that he is so conservative that he won't take any stupid risks, because he just won't take any risks.
Yeah, I guess, again, when you're lowering expectations, you eventually get to the point where that seems good enough. I think it's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Setsuko Hara gives one of a million incredible performances. You must see it if you have not. Finally, Mother, in which we have the great Kinuyo Tanaka and the great Kyoko Kagawa as a mother and daughter. This movie, I probably like it the best out of the three.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I guess we'd seen it before. I had hardly any memory of it, whereas I did remember Repast, because we talked about it on the podcast, and I remember Floating Clouds because it makes a very strong impression. But yeah, I think this was my favorite of the three this time. This sentimental family drama comedy that nevertheless is like really dark shit is happening.
Slice of life in the best sense of the concept. We've got the eldest child, Kyoko Kagawa. She's narrating, talking about her mother.
At times it seems like it's going to be an almost Little Women style coming of age film about
living through hardship and pulling together.
Yeah, but also being upset because your family is changing and you're going to leave home and you want things to stay the same.
Right.
It was compared by Catherine Russell, giving a talk introducing. She's written a book on women in Naruse's films from Concordia University.
My alma mater.
So she was comparing it to, for example, All That Heaven Allows. But that's an interesting framing because then you're thinking about how strikingly different this is from All That Heaven Allows. For one thing, the mother's interest in possibly remarrying has nothing to do with sex.
No.
Right? This is not a journey of sexual self-discovery. This is a woman who works so hard, is losing all of her children to disease, poverty, and just growing up and leaving. Her whole life is mothering and work. And all she wants is, a pleasant companion to share the work and the bit of leisure with. That's all she wants.
I help her deal with customers.
And she can't even consciously formulate that for herself. Like, I don't think she ever consciously thinks about this until her daughter brings it up in distress.
She's responding to gossip. So other people are commenting that Daisuke Kato, who was a friend of the deceased husband's, he's moved in with them, or not moved in with them, but helping them all the time to get back up and running at the shop.
So that Kinuyo Tanaka can run the entire shop by herself, and the final image, while the daughter's narration is, oh mother, may you live a long and happy life. But, you're looking at Kinuyo Tanaka and you know that she's going to die really soon because of work and loneliness.
Well, she's got the telltale melodrama coughs a few times, right? And she says, this is great. I'll live to see my daughter married.
I was going to say, yeah, she foretells it herself. She knows exactly how this is going to go.
So it better happen soon, yeah.
And I mean, she is just going to die because...
I don't think it's very healthy, the environment they're working in. They're breathing in dye all the time. I mean...
Maybe she could keep going a little longer if she has something to live for, but she won't once her children leave because she hasn't allowed herself the possibility of this further companion, and her husband has died on her.
She's lost her eldest son. Her second daughter is sent off to live with relatives who can afford to send her to school.
Her second daughter, who adores and worships her and finally decides to leave for that reason.
Yeah.
To help her.
Yeah, she was really good too. I mean, just everything that happens in this movie is incredibly...
And the older daughter's reaction to that, to having to lose a sibling.
Yeah.
Even though she herself is probably going to get married soon, but she's not thinking of that consciously either.
Yeah, well, that part does kind of remind you a little bit, if you squint, of All That Heaven Allows, where everything seems so important to the kids, and then, 1 year later, they don't care at all and have forgotten, right?
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true that she would have forgotten losing her sibling. That's the part that reminded me more of Little Women.
I'm talking about, yeah, she's going to get married soon, and is it going to be as important that her mother not remarry?
Oh, right, of course. Of course. But this mother really is the self-sacrificing mother.
Yeah.
Right, and she's no, it's not that in a way she's given up something. Well, you can't say it's more or less valuable than what Jane Wyman would have to give up in All That Heaven Allows. It's just completely different.
This movie is incredibly funny, too. It's just got everything you would want in a film. Can't recommend it highly enough.
It is the complete picture.
Courtesy of Mikio Naruse. Throughout December and January, we'll be seeing many more of his films, so stay tuned for those on Fear and Moviegoing in Toronto.
Before we go, we wanted to say a thank you
to Jack Barth, who wrote us a wonderful email.
We're not going to read it because it's mostly just extravagant praise of us and our podcast.
It's humbling to know that we've had anything like that effect on any listener out there, and rest assured, we will be continuing to podcast as long as we possibly can.
There was definitely humor in the hyperbole.
Of course.
But it warmed our hearts anyway. I'll speak for myself, Dave. When I read an email like that, which is the pleasant side of the internet, that you get that kind of direct and detailed feedback now and then for your creative endeavors, it makes me think to myself, of the few hundred voluntary listeners we get per month. I say voluntary because obviously it's not like a class where you're stuck with whatever teacher you get or you have to take this credit or whatever. You're here because you want to be here. It gives me hope that for every one letter like that we get, there's more than one person who likes the podcast that much.
Next time on the podcast, well, it will be Christmas. We are recording in advance due to some travel and other considerations, but you will be hearing it on Christmas Day. It's a special subject, S and Xmas, chosen lovingly by Elise. We'll be discussing Eyes Wide Shut and Elle.
Yeah, we'd love to be one of those British quiz shows that when you're stuffed full of Christmas treats and you're fully sated, just lounging around late in the day, you might want to check out our podcast.
Join us for the darkest Christmas double feature of all time.
That's right.